everyone, it's Missy here from TheJollyFatElf. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so before we get started, don't forget to check out the Etsy shop. That's listed down below. I've got handmade cards, mystery card bundles. There's also a link where you could buy me a coffee. All of the things listed down below, Facebook group, Facebook page, all of it. In today's video, I'm going to be making another set of cards using the birthday, I think it's called Birthday Wishes Girl kit from Echo Park. In my last two videos, I made cards initially, hated them, and then in Wednesday's video, I fixed them, and I'm filming this ahead of time, but I hope that you loved them because I loved how they turned out. In today's video, let me get a drink. In today's video, I'm continuing using the kit, but I'm using pieces that were on the first set of cards. Doing my best to be zero waste stamping. I've been doing this now for a year and a half. Feel free to join me. I'm trying to use up my stuff and make sure that not much goes in either the recycling bin or the trash bin. Feel free to join me. I don't have a hashtag or anything, and I'm not doing it on Instagram. So yeah. Oh, if you haven't already checked out Stamp Anything's YouTube channel, I have a Fanny Friday there today, and I have a bonus video there tomorrow. I rarely make Halloween cards. Last year I made a pink Halloween card. So yeah. Anywho, if you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Be sure to leave me a comment letting me know what you think of this set of cards. Did I get it right the first time, or do you still think they're awful? Nobody said they were awful. But again, my parameters are I can only use what came in the bundle with cardstock. No die cutting, no embossing, nothing like that. I can use little accessories like the flowers and the rhinestones, etc. But nothing that cost a huge investment. Like, I want you to be able to make these cards for under $50. And Echo Park just sent out a warehouse sale. So you could probably find the kit I'm using on sale. So yeah. All right, that's enough jibber jabber. Let's head over to the craft table and we'll get started. All right, friends, here I am on Pinterest looking for a sketch, and this is the sketch that I'm going to use today. I am changing it just a little bit because I don't want to have weird paper cuts or like sizes of paper, and we'll talk about it as we get into cutting the paper. So I'm going to be using leftovers. So these are the pieces that were cut off when I was making the mats for the cards that you saw last Friday and Wednesday. Again, I'm trying to be as zero stamping as possible, and I want to get as much use out of this kit as possible. So here I am with the blue and the purple again. I don't know. I don't like the other papers. They're not papers I would use in my crafting very often. So yeah. Okay, so we're going to mat. That was one of the things that was mentioned on the feedback for the first video, and I agree. And since I didn't mat, I'm going to go ahead and mat now. So I am going to use the purple, and I'm going to cut it down to just 1/8 of an inch bigger. I think these were 2 by 4, I believe. Whatever the measurement is on the sketch is what I used. I have enough to make 6 cards. So we made 12 the first time. Now we're making 6, so we're up to 18 cards. So here are the ones that I took off the last cards, and I thought, oh, this will be a good way to get use out of those. And I feel like I picked the perfect sketch because it's 2.5 by 2.5, and these are 2.5 by 2.5. So for the background paper, I'm using the back of this paper, which I think is white hearts, and the sketch calls for these to be cut at 3.5 by 5.25, but I cut them at 3 by 5.25. And the main reason is because you can get 2 of these out of one 6x6 sheet of paper. And if you do 3.5 by 4.5, 5.25, then you're going to have a weird strip again. And I'm trying to avoid that. So that's really the only change I made from the original sketch. Here I'm kind of playing with the layout and trying to decide how I want to do it. And then I'm going to play around with what color I want to use on the background. So as I mentioned in Wednesday's video and mentioned probably in this intro, I'm trying to make these as easy as possible, beginner friendly as possible. For the strip that went across, they didn't give a measurement for that. So I cut mine down to 1/2 by 4 1/4. So that will go across the entire front of the card. And I used a different pink than I used for the mats on the little squares. I used the hot pink for that. All right, so our mats are going to be the solids this time. So we're doing 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm doing the blue and I'm doing the purple. Again, it's two-sided, so purple on one side, blue on the other. I wish they put the purple with a different color on the back with the orange or the green. So yeah, I will use those because they're in the kit, and I promised I would use everything in the kit, but I'm doing so begrudgingly, let me tell you. Okay, I'm making 6 cards. So I'm bringing in 3 pieces of this cardstock. I'm scoring it at 5 1/2 first, and then I'm cutting at 4 1/4. That's one of the rules one of the things I suggest when you're mass producing cards. Score first, then cut, so you only have to score one time. So this is Melon Mambo, I believe, from Stampin' Up. I think most companies who sell cardstock have a color very similar to this. And you don't have to use the colors I use. Go for the layout if you want to. Just have fun with it. I mean, it's paper. You know what I mean? And the whole point of these, number one, are to be very beginner friendly, but also to give you an idea if this is something that you enjoy. If you don't like cutting paper, cutting and gluing paper, you may not like this. All right, so here I am fiddling with the background color, and I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this is how I decide sometimes. I will put it down, and then I'm going to take a picture, and then I'll put the other one down. I'm going to take a picture of that one and go from there. So I really like this sketch. This is definitely one you'll probably see in the holiday card series. I think it's a really good way to use up scraps, as you see, and yeah, I think this is a good one for sure. So I'm just deciding if I want the pattern cardstock or paper all the way over, or if I want to leave a small border, and I decide to leave a small border. Now, you guys may not like it, but I did the blue instead of the purple. And the only reason why I did that is because there's blue, I believe in every square I use, there's a little bit of blue. And I take a picture of each, and then I decide which one I like better. I love the purple, but I really liked the contrast of the blue, and we already have a purple layer, so I'm bringing in a different one. And if you guys hate it, I get it. I do. Use the purple one however you want to do it. But I wanted to bring in as many colors as possible, just to kind of give it a little bit of contrast, and I think that works a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on these. So I'm using liquid glue, and I'm leaving just a tiny bit of space on the left-hand side, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So there's a little bit of a mat on the left-hand side, and then we're going to line up the other papers as soon as we get to that step. And I mentioned in my last video, you guys are seeing that row of washi tape is where I normally stop, like when I'm zoomed in. But since I was doing cutting and stuff like that, and you can kind of see how messy my desk is because of all of this, I went ahead and zoomed all the way out. That way you wouldn't miss anything, because I am notorious for doing that too. So this makes 18 cards so far, and I think that's pretty good. I mean, because we barely cracked the surface on the amount of paper and stuff. I don't know how many will end up, or if I'll continue this series after next week, because again, my holiday card series starts on the 4th of September. I haven't even filmed for that yet. I need to get there pretty quick. So I am using tape runner to adhere the confetti piece to the purple piece. And then I am trying to decide on the layer, and you saw me give you a thumbs up. So the way I aligned this to make it straight is I put the purple, lined up the purple against the edge of the pattern paper. I thought that was the easiest way to do this. And again, I'm using liquid glue so I can move it around just a little bit. And then just getting it adhered just like that. And I love the way these turned out, you guys. So if you don't like them, I'm sorry, I like them. I think they turned out cute. Art is subjective, right? This is my form of art. It's subjective. I love both sides of this paper. This is the one that was the happy birthday. That was the horizontal stripe on the first cards, as you can see here on the back. I just think it's so much fun. Like I would love this confetti paper, just regular pieces of it. It's too bad they don't sell 6x6 singles. I mean, I understand how expensive that would be, especially with Echo Park, because I don't know what it is about their paper manufacturer, but I have the hardest time getting their paper out of their 6x6 paper pads. Let me tell you. Okay, now we're going to transfer this to our card. And you just want to make sure that your card base is opening the right way. Ask me how I know not to do that. Ask me how I know that you have to make sure that your card is opening the right way. Oy vey. And here you see why I'm glad I'm using liquid glue, because I'm moving things around. I'm notorious for having something crooked. Hashtag crooked as a jaybird all the time. I've mentioned that before. And I think I come by it naturally because my right leg is considerably shorter than my left leg. We're talking about I don't know, 6 inches shorter maybe. So I always lean to the right. And when I taught, all of my bulletin boards and lean to the right. So when I taught kindergarten, my friend came with me to set up my classroom and she's like, "Can I do your bulletin boards?" I was like, "Please, for the love of all things holy, do my bulletin boards." Hui vey. So when I have a darker cardstock, I like to put in a white layer. Now this is just copy. It's a little bit thicker than copy paper. And I went ahead and cut up a bunch of this. So these are 4 by 5 1/4. They fit on the inside of a standard size card. And they just give the person that you're sending this card to, either you or, if you're giving this away as a gift or if you're selling it, it gives the person who's going to end up sending this card a place to write their message. And they don't have to use like a white pen, etc. There are times when I don't do this if the paper is a little bit brighter, but for the most part, I put those mats on the inside. Okay, for these little pink ones, I realized that I cut them too long. I cut them at 4 1/4, and I want them at 4. So I'm just cutting that 1/4 inch off, and then I'm going to adhere them to the little squares from last week's video. I guess Wednesday's video. I mean, I think this turned out so stinking cute. Like, I am so happy with these. I couldn't be happier. So I'm using my grid. Look at me using a grid and trying to get these straight. Who am I? I don't even know. So I am popping these up and I'm using the adhesive, foam adhesive from Scotch and just cutting little ones and going all the way across with these. Now, normally when I am doing mass producing, I say do each step first. So I would glue these to that and then I would add like all of them at the same time. And so to me, this worked a little bit easier. And I, again, there was only 6 of them. So it wasn't like I was making a whole ton of cards. But my goal was just to make sure that they were as straight as I could get them. And I made sure to pull ones that had a little bit more of the colors of the cards. And again, just adding some of that adhesive to make sure it goes all the way across. And then once I get all of them done, we're going to get them adhered. And then we're going to move on to the fun part, which is adding some embellishments. So I'm going to pull out 3 different colors of the rhinestones. I have a purple, a light pink, and a darker pink. And I'm adding 1 of each side to the top right, and 2 to the bottom left. And you guys have seen me do this a million times if you've been with me for a long time. So once I do that, that's it. We're done. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this sketch, if you don't like this sketch, we'll step it up a little bit next week. But yeah. All right, friends, that's it. Here's a look at all 6 cards. I hope you have a good day, night, weekend, wherever you are. I love your faces. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.